Recently had to clean out my basement to be prepared for some guys to come in and do some waterproofing, and in the process I found this chainsaw. It's also a Stihl. It's an MS250. It's a little bit smaller than the 034 that not too long ago in a couple of videos, but it's not wanting to crank for me, so I'm going to kind of go through and look at some things and see if I can determine why it might not want to crank. And really sorry for the wind sound. It's kind of windy today, so I hope it's not too loud. Because of the excessive wind sound, I decided that most of this video is going to be voiced over. I figured that would be easier than having to deal with hearing the background sound from the wind. First thing I did was to check and see if there's any chain and bar oil in the chainsaw, just to see if there was any left in there. There was a little bit, but I will end up having to add some more just to make sure that if I get started cutting that I don't have any problems. My next step was to remove the main cover from the carburetor and the spark plug. There's a latch on the back that turns, but then you also have to push down on the lever there to get it at a point where the back cover can slide off. The air filter was fairly covered with sawdust. At some point I'll likely have to get a new air filter. For right now, it's still doing the job. I don't see anything at this point that looks like a problem. All the wiring looks to be in good shape. Now I'm going to remove the air filter so that I can start to inspect the carburetor. In order to check out the spark plug, you have to remove this little plastic cover. The spark plug cable is in good shape. The external portion of the spark plug looks to be in good shape as well. Cleaned out some spider webs and then replaced the external cover. Again, you have the latch, and then the lever on the side has to be put back into place. My next step was to inspect the fuel system. I've heard that the fuel line becomes easily detached from Stihl models. So I wanted to look inside and make sure that the fuel filter looked okay and that the fuel line was still attached to the filter and attached to the inside like it was supposed to be, and it was. Well, just looking over it, I don't see anything that's obviously abnormal. So my plan is to try a couple more times, see if I can get it to crank. If not, I may try putting a little fuel in the carburetor, see if I'm just not getting fuel through the line. But right now, I don't see any reason why this shouldn't get going. My next concern was that the spark plug portion that I could not see was either damaged or dirty. So I removed the outer cover and attempted to remove the spark plug. The only spark plug socket that I had was a 5/8. There's actually a 5/8, a 3/4, and a 13/16. In this case, the MS250 requires a 3/4 uh, spark plug socket, which I did not have at the time, so I ended up having to go and purchase one. Spark plug was actually fine. The problem was that I had flooded the system, so I had to go through the process of getting it unflooded, which is to put it in the run setting, hold down the throttle, and crank it at the same time. That allows the motor to use the fuel that's already in its system and unflood itself.